Today's topic is justice. I didn't just make this up on the spot. I have been thinking about this for a while. So how would you define personal justice?
It sounds like you're asking something about personal right, personal rightness. Is that what you're asking? Justice means the opposite word to justice is wronged. You are wrong, right? Somebody has wronged you. Is that what you're asking? Or personal justice means what?
I guess maybe before we define personal justice, what is justice? What would that mean?
I think the idea of justice is dharma. The Indian, they call it rightness, every human right. So are you talking about justice as the keeping of human rightness, my right? Is it keeping my rightness? And injustice is when my right is violated. So is justice an acknowledgement of basic rights that every human being have? That's what justice. But your question was personal justice. So you're asking about my personal right.
Yeah, so like in a grand scheme of things, we can say it's just that everybody has their basic needs met. That is in all countries, all over every single world, everybody should have food, water, and shelter. That would be justice for the world.
Is it justice that somebody must provide for them? Or the justice is everybody must be given the opportunity to get it?
The opportunity to get it at the
Right.
very least, that would be justice.
Right.
But if we bring it down to a personal level, because in the grandest scheme of justice, we can talk about it, but when we talk about it on a personal level, it's a little bit more complicated, right?
No, it's vague. It's not complicated. I just can't find the ground to talk about it. Are you talking about personal rightness? Then if you're talking about personal rightness, do you recognize that right in everybody else too? You cannot have a rightness that is just for you and it is not shared with everybody else. So are you saying personal justice is the rightness every individual should have and I uphold, and I'm very sensitive to me being unviolated by that? So when you say justice, personal justice, is it you're talking about a rightness that is only for you, or it's the rightness that you hold for yourself, that you hold for all too? Right?
Yep.
In the Hindu culture, the word dharma means nature, right. It doesn't matter who. You know what I mean? There's even a story of a cow asking this noble king for justice because the prince ran over the calf with his chariot and killed the calf. So the cow went and said, "Come on, where's my justice?" So the king will punish the son to death because he killed the calf. But somehow the cow stopped it. This is the story. So again, we go into this. I think the subject you want to explore is what is right for me. Is it exclusively for me, or is it the right for all? It's like this. If I have the right to be angry, then when you get angry, I must be okay with it. If I have a right to disagree, then when you disagree, I must be okay with it. So what is personal could be very abusive by saying, I am privileged, I have this right, but that right is not offered to you. Right?
I guess I'm not meaning it in that sense, but I can see that, like, how that point is like very applicable. But like, I mean it more in the sense of like, how do I operate in a way that I find justice for myself and for the world, and I want to be in this way that I feel like is right, and not necessarily like I give myself the space to feel angry, therefore I give you the space to feel angry. That of course is true. But it's like, I want to be somebody who does right. And that is the personal justice that I have. I want to do this and I want to do it right. How do we find that definition for ourselves?
No, I think you're confused. I think you are not laying. There cannot be anything personal. There can only be personalization. It has to be something like every human being has a right to be who they are. I am personally holding it through for me and for another. So the word personal is very confusing. To me, the word personal, the way most people use, something is given to them, but it's not necessarily given to another. And I think that is not personal. I think that is egoistical. So what is personal is what is there that I personally uphold for me and for all. Will that make sense to you?
Definitely.
If not, you are saying, no, I want to do right. I want to be right. And what is right for you can be wrong for somebody else too.
Yep.
So I think what you are saying is, when you say justice, you are talking about the ground in which all of us stand on equally.
So basically, you're saying personal justice is like a standardized acceptance of what justice is, and we are upholding it.
No, I'm talking about, I won't even say standardized. I'm saying what is right.
Universal is a better word.
Universal right. Now I embody it personally. That I take upon myself to live that for me and for all. You see, I have a problem with this word personal, It can be the most abusive word. I personally will do anything I want. What does that mean? It feels like the whole idea of personal is being wrong with another, because what I offer me, I'm not offering you. First, we have to establish this. What I offer me, do I offer another? And what I offer another, is it just, is it right for all? But you may ask this question, could that be something that is just for me, not for all? It's a whole nother discussion, I think.
But I think that is the discussion we should have. Because I think in a grander scheme on the universal right, like the universal justice, I think pretty much most people are in agreement of what is justice. People don't want to uphold it because it means that their life can be less. Like, people want to oppress, and having oppression is injustice. But in a grand scheme, I think we understand. I think if we bring it down to the personal is when it gets a little bit like,
then
how are we going to manage this?
Then all idea of personal is wrong. Then you are subscribing to the Buddhist ideology, the Jain ideology, the ancient Hindu ideology. There's no self. There is only what is right for all, that is right as me. So can I say the idea of personal itself can be challenged here? So do we define personal as what is only allowed for me, not for another? I hope that's not what we are saying. But if I say it is right for all, you can't find it personal.
So are you saying that the idea of personal justice, like there shouldn't even be that idea?
Sorry?
Are you saying there shouldn't even be the idea of personal justice?
No, I don't know what they are talking about. What do you mean by personal? Personal means it's only allowed to me. Like, you will only be my daughter. That's personal. Somebody else can treat you like their daughter, but like their daughter, but you are my daughter. And that means that is only for me. But that actually, even that is not true, in the sense that it is given to everyone who has a daughter. If somebody has a daughter, then that's his daughter. So even that personal has a universal component. So my argument is very simple. When we use the word personal, are we saying this is only given to me or to a small group of people, and to the other it's denied? So the word personal can be a poison. But my approach to personal is, I take this personally. This that is right for all, I am living it personally as my personal truth for me and for all.
Yep.
So personal is just how I grab hold of something universal and make it me. Right?
Yeah.
If not, the idea of personal is madness, Because the idea of personal means it's only for me, not for you.
That means like I deserve to be treated a certain way, but I don't know about you, La. This is my justice.
Yeah, this is my personal justice. If you insult me, I will shoot you. If I insult you, you must take it.
So conceptually, it also just doesn't work.
Yeah. You see, and there is a study, you're opening up a door that is very difficult. There's no such thing as personal. There's no such thing as personal. There's only universal. Like your body, my body, even though I occupy my body personally, you occupy your body personally, a body is a universal creation. We all have 2 kidneys, a heart. We function in a almost a similar way. Maybe the only personal is within that similarity, there's a discrepancy. I might not be good with carb. You might be okay with carb. That small variation, like we all have fingers, we all have hands, but our thumbprint is slightly different. That's the only personal. But you can't make the thumbprint and say my entire body is personal. I have a universal body. I have the same body everybody has. Doesn't matter what race I have, my blood is the same. The only difference is my thumbprint is very unique. That uniqueness should not deny my universality too. But my universalness relies on that small personal. Now your question sits rightly. What is personal justice? So I just take this along. Could personal justice be that small uniqueness that is me that I need to discover? So we establish we are all on the same platform. We are created equal. We all have the same faculties. We all have brains and characters and parenthood and all that. Within that, we are finding that little nuances like this. I go to the art studio, art museum, all are paintings. But are they all the same? Oh, not really. Then there is Rembrandt, there is Vermeer, there is Picasso, and there's so many, but they all fall under painting. They all fall under art. So can I say, only when the universal is settled, within the universal, I find the personal, and the personal is the only sense of me as me that makes me an individual opposed to the universal. Let me finish. If I'm only the universal, then I don't exist.
Yeah.
Then I'm a crowd, right?
Do you think the universal definition of justice, do you think that there even is a universal definition of justice? I guess that's even why this question, I'm posing it, is because the concept of justice, as much as I can say that, yeah, we have a universal idea, but that's because you and I share the same idea. But if you look at it, even if you talk about the war in Palestine, in Gaza, there's 2 senses of justice happening.
Right.
That I stand on one side and in complete agreement, and somebody says, no, everything you're saying is actually unjust.
See, I'm not sure I'm going to do justice to your question, but I'll try to inject this way. Is it because we cannot see the universal, we always use the personal to justify justice? And whenever we only use the personal, that is not justice. We have 2 sides. There's a war, 2 arguments. Some people for, some people against. I'm saying don't bomb the children. Some people say, no, they are this terrorist group, you bomb them. Both arguments are equally weighted, right? Equally weighted on a personal level, right? So I'm injecting this. Could our notion of justice is clouded because of the personal? Again, I say, I have the same body, you have the same body, we share similar DNA. Maybe when you see organ transplant, somebody's organ will not fit another, so there's a discrepancy. In that similarity, there is a discrepancy, but I think if the discrepancy is used to deny the similarity, then we become blind.
But do you think the universal idea of justice is really defined?
No.
Because no child should die.
Yeah.
And I think both sides in the war, if we're just using the war as an example, probably agree on that.
Yeah.
But one side of the war is justifying that
Casualty
it's okay.
of war, they will say.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
that means that the universal is not clear. Or maybe they're okay with that injustice happening
No.
for a greater justice.
No, I think the war happened because of the personal, not because of the universal. I think you happen, I happen, not because of our similarity. It happens because of that minute differences between you and me. But we have exaggerated the minute difference. You follow? Again, let me put the principle down. Unless I can find my uniqueness within the bigger picture, I haven't found me. I can use my thumbprint and I say, I'm different than you. But I must first agree we both occupy a hand. We have a set of hands. We have a set of prints. We have to establish that. Within that, I must say, I'm unique. So my uniqueness should not deny my universality, and my universalness should not dismiss my uniqueness. And I think in that balance is where justice can exist.
But if we bring it down now, bring it down more to day-to-day person. Of course, talking about the war, it's very grand. We're talking about a universal level. There's so many people that are focused on being right, on being just. I'm going to do it right. But sometimes when you're focused on doing things justly or rightly, you don't get things done because you're not sort of being like, you kind of in this world, unfortunately, there's a lot of politics, there's a lot of things we have to mind. We have to mind the other person in order to get things done. And so when people try to do things very justly, sometimes they can't get things done.
You see, I will question when people want to do things justly. Is it another personal thing they're hiding with the universal? Is it another way to make me different than the other? I'm doing things rightly. What do you think the other person is doing? From their perspective, they're doing what is right. Nobody is going to go out and do something against everybody and claim it's right. So this is where the confusion happens. I think what it needs is to detach, to look at the bigger picture and to see the play. Like you look at the world, everybody wants to be rich. Everybody is struggling to be rich. Some are poor. Right? So I have a feeling when you say, I want to do right, I need you to question. You take this war, each thing they are doing right. Each thing they want to get it done. Each war is for peace. If you lose, there's peace. If this person says you lose, there is peace. Like if you take Ukraine, for instance, just lose to Russia, you're peaceful. But they say, no. If I lose to Russia, I lose my sovereignty. I want Russia to lose for me to have peace. I'm trying to introduce the complication, and this is when the ego acts, when the I acts. So can I enter this, and this might help. If the idea of personal is a separation from the universal, that personal is ill.
Say it again.
If the idea of I, the personal, is separation from the universal, the idea of I is ill. It's ill. It's not personal.
But what if I'm saying like, okay, I want to build this house, okay? And I want to do it this way. I'm going to pay what you tell me to pay and I'm going to listen to you and everything. But this person is like, well, I could do it like this. I could do it. And I'm just like, can you just do it by the book? And can you just do it this way? But they're like, well, that's not exactly how I want to do it. Not that they're doing anything wrong, but they're not going in that,
Maybe there's a person you shouldn't work with. But the way you are saying it, I want it to be this way, then you're telling, I don't want your opinion. That means you're saying, I'm violating your right to have an opinion. I just want you to follow what I'm saying. And if that person agrees with it, that's fine.
Then we can work that way on this project. We can work that way.
Yeah. But if you say, no, I want your input too. I want you to take responsibility too. Now we have a clash.
Then you're asking people for something they might not be able to give.
And that might be their right.
Yeah, absolutely. Then that might be their limitations and their rights.
Yeah. So let's say you want to build this house this way. Okay. Now you're going to find people who might not want to follow. How do you work around that rightly without violating them? If not, you're going to force them to do something you want them to do only the way you want.
Because I perceive as what I'm asking you to do is right, but you don't perceive it that way. So actually everybody's intention is not to hurt the other. It's to do it rightly, but our definition of doing it right is different.
Right. You see, there's a simple thing. We are building a deck at the back, a beautiful outdoor sun deck. And we need to put a fan, an outdoor fan, and a canopy. Now I'm thinking, if I put the canopy, do I minus the tree shade? We have beautiful tree shade. If I put a canopy, what's the point sitting outside under
Yeah.
a canopy? I want to sit under the tree. But without the canopy, I can't put a fan.
Mm.
What do I do now? Do you know what I will do? Suspend my idea, watch and see what works.
Mm.
You know, what is universal rightness? What works?
Yeah.
What functions? What keep humanity going? So I have an idea. I'm like, I want this. And he's saying, no, you have to put a canopy. If not, the rain will disturb the fan. I'm sure there's an outdoor fan too. So we are in a dilemma now. What do we do? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to suspend and see what works. And in the process, I might put the canopy and say, nah, I don't think it worked. That's about all I can do. What can I? The guy who's building the canopy or the outdoor thing, he's the expert in that.
Yeah.
But I am the customer. I am saying, I want this vision. I don't know whether my vision is right.
Mm.
So I can tell him my vision. He's going to tell me what he's going to tell. Somewhere in between, we're going to sit, and I think it's a gamble. Maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't. So I am saying, unless we are willing to experiment, get into the mess of it, and then figure out what works. To me, you know what is the universe? What works?
Mm.
I can imagine a crocodile without a tail. But I don't know why the crocodile needs a tail. I can imagine, now I grew up, there was crocodiles in my river. I can imagine a crocodile without tail. But somehow what works is the crocodile. So can I say, the universal, I'm not saying I'm authority, you know, is what works, not that what I'm forcing to make it work. Is the universal truth, is what is universal, is what works. You see, GMO worked. A tomato that is this big when I grew up became this big.
Mm.
If you use GMO tomato, they are this big and they are healthy. They are fat. My time, tomatoes were this small, and if there's 20 tomatoes in a tree, I guarantee 17 of them got insect.
Mm.
We want the tomato without the insect. GMO came, it worked. They produce huge, but now we know we are eating garbage, we are eating poison. We want the tomato with the insect bite. Because if the insect doesn't see that as food, how the hell as a human do I eat it now?
But
Did it work?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to ask
No,
you.
it worked for profit. It worked for control. It worked
to feed people.
Huh?
It worked to feed people with...
No, did they feed or they poison?
Yeah.
Did they feed or they poison? So you see, now we know we don't want. How come now all the shops are selling organic food? I grew up, everything was organic. There was no such thing as non-organic. And we were never sick a day in our life, you know. And we thought we were poor. We had tomatoes, we have chicken pooping all over the place. We caught the fish from the ocean. We found the wild boar in the jungle. Now, I go, there is what I hear, vegetable here, and organic is 5 times more expensive. So did this organic made what was natural 5 times more expensive?
Mm-hmm.
So hang on. Right now, how you are contemplating, is that what is missing in us? Like what Krishnamurti will say, can we talk over together? Can we not be prejudiced in making ourselves right? To make myself right is to think this is right, and then I'm defending this as right becomes my personal justice. And the problem with personal justice, what is right for me might not be right for another or for all. So could I say this subject is, can we all sit down and think over together saintly?
But do I have to change myself if what is right for me is not right for you?
No, is it right for you? I'm not saying you should change what is right for you. Is it right?
And also in the pursuit of getting what works, what if I don't want to do all that? What if I don't want to? What if it betrays me to do all that to get it to work?
Then you found out something about you that you don't want to do that.
Hmm.
Then you
Then if
found
it takes all that out of me, I don't want to do it.
Then it's not for you to do. Then you walk away. You see, I'm not trying to give an answer, you know. I'm trying to create a situation which we can explore the answer. I add this, and could it be my personal prejudice, this fingerprint, or my eyes, my irises, whatever that is unique about me, or my distortion of my nose, is what is blinding me from the rest of me?
Do you think what is right is always what works? So let me give you
No.
you and
No.
I, right? We are more radical.
Mm.
My mother is even more radical. And I think about the show I used to do called the Woke Up Show, we spoke about things you're not supposed to talk about. And we pushed it. As much as we could push it, we live in Malaysia, there's censorship in this country, there's sedition laws, you can only talk about so many things, but we pushed it. And in pushing it, you can say, hey, I don't know if you should do that. You might be taking it too far. But in my mind, that's right. I'm doing something right. This is the justice that I feel I ought to do. Is that still right? Is that still just? Is pushing it also okay? Because I see where things can be.
No, you see, let me first answer one thing you said. You know what you said? You said, if that which works, is it right? What did you say?
I said, yeah,
If it works, does it mean it's right?
Yeah.
Prostitution works. It's the oldest profession, is it right? Slavery works.
Yeah.
Poverty works. For somebody to be rich, poverty works. So, I would not quickly say what work is right. But what is right will work for long periods of time.
Democracy.
No, that's what we are seeking. We are not there yet. Hang on a minute. Hang on. I need to smoke.
I've been trying to get him to smoke on this show for a long time.
I refuse to. It's a bad thing. Don't do it. I got addicted to it. This is a very stressful subject. Okay.
I'm going to change it.
Me smoking.
This episode is sponsored by Mevius Wind Blue. We wish.
Hang on. No, I think you have stumbled upon something incredible, but I'm certain we are not going to do justice to this. But what I'm certain is we may begin the exploration. And again, to the listeners, I'm not pretending to be an expert. And I don't think anybody can be an expert. We can talk over.
We're just exploring.
Like I have a teacher named J. Krishnamurti. One of his famous statements, we're sitting together talking over. We're talking together, not talking to you, okay? So we're asking, you asked a very good question. If it works, is it justice? No. It's just it works in this economical situation. In this condition, it works. So what is real justice? I think is what you and I have to unearth. Just because prostitution works, does it mean it's right? In some way, it's right. The society cannot function without some of these things. It is there. It's been there for 5,000 years. It will be there. Another 5. Is it right?
It will be right in the circumstance where everybody has equal opportunity and people are willingly choosing to do it. And in that situation, yeah. But that's not the world we live in.
That's not what is happening. So we must say we do live in an unjust world. We live in a world that is unjust. I think the challenge is within the injustice, how do I live justly is what you are struggling to do. So you're saying, I want to get things done rightly. Your intention is absolutely right. I want to do it. I want to get it done. Come, let's do it. But you live in a world that does not subscribe to justice too. It subscribes to only what works. Right? It only works, only functions economically, and our standard of margin is so little. Did you make profit? Did everybody get paid? Is everybody satisfied? Yeah, you go to a bar, you give everybody free booze, everybody is happy. But you might just have made somebody go into an alcoholic coma. Hang on a minute. Maybe that's all this podcast is. Hang on a minute, guys. Can we talk over? Can we think? Can we not so quickly rush into it? And let me put it down. We all have personal prejudice. My personal thumbprint dismisses everything else that is similar to you. My personal color or my personal race dismisses me from being the rest of humanity. Can we acknowledge the disease of personal? But also, can we also acknowledge the universal might dismiss my personal? So I have to find a balance here, isn't it?
How do we find that balance? How do we reconcile with the
Struggle.
injustice?
Struggle. Think things through. With every situation, find dharma. Do you know the Eastern tradition, after thousands of years of thinking, they came up with this word called dharma, dharma. There's this man called Bodhidharma who went to China. In China, they call him Damo. He is the seeker of rightness. The seeker of rightness is to balance this entire complexity. You want a rule in which you can be blind to the complexity.
I think I want, if I'm thinking about Malaysia and
Right.
the show that I did, I didn't want to be blind to the reality, but I didn't want to consider it either. I wanted to just do what I felt was right.
And what you did was so sweet. You put it out there, you did something. I think it should be a super hit show. I was watching it yesterday and I'm like, why didn't this show explode to millions of views? Maybe they're not ready. Not that you are not right. Maybe you are right, but they are not ready. And you must accept that. You are just ahead of time. And maybe that is the success. You created a provocation. You still had followers. You had still many people who liked it. But they have to catch up. You must understand, a revolution always is started by a very small group of people, that the society shuns and eventually become grateful. So, for you not to do well, let's say, you didn't have millions of views, is what is right. It is showing where people are. Like I'm selling organic food and people are buying garbage. Then say, what is the justice? That's the justice you're pointing out.
Yeah.
And you cannot force the society to follow you at your fancy. It
No,
will
but
come as it comes.
I'm also asking you, right? Like when I pushed it, right? I said things maybe you shouldn't say in this country, and I pushed it, which people might say, hey, why are you doing that? You're doing too much.
Yeah.
Is that even right? And for me, I'm like, yes, I think that is just, but it's standing directly in opposition to somebody else's view of justice. How do we find that balance and that reconciliation?
No. You did right by you. To me, that's all I care. You were honest to you. You said, I don't stand for all this oppression. I want unity. I want world peace. You stood. Just because it didn't become popular doesn't mean you fail, It means you succeeded.
Not about the popularity, more about just
Why people are not saying yes to it, right?
why? No, it's that you can perceive it as me doing something wrong.
People can do anything they want. They can say anything they want. And the people who perceive you doing it as wrong will be a very small portion of people who are exploiting things as they are. By right, why aren't you acknowledging all the people say, well done, Abshi. Wow, I'm so proud in Malaysia. You brought something out that most people scared. You see, what works is survival, not living. Why people are quiet? Why people don't want to fight for something? They just want to survive. And survival is personal. And to ask people to give up their survival for something better for the future, it's a gamble a lot of people cannot take. You took the gamble, bravo to you. So the whole thing is right. Do you understand?
Do you think bringing about justice also means having to bring about vision?
I give you, let me see whether this works or not. You know what is justice? Not to be trapped by what is. Again, what is justice? Not to be trapped by just what is, as what you say, to have a vision of what can be.
But not everybody can see the vision.
That is why people like you are needed. And when you put the vision, they will laugh at it. Right now, they think Martin Luther King is somebody amazing. In his time. So if you are a visionary...
Not that I would compare myself to
No,
MLK.
I'm not comparing. I don't want to compare you and get you into trouble. No, but if you have a vision, you know you have the sight others don't. Others are struggling to just get by, right? You must include that in your vision. If not, that vision become dictatorial. I see this, I'm not going to consider. People are scared. People want to go home, feed their family. Like if you take Malaysia or anything, the things they don't want to say because they don't want trouble. It's not that they are coward, they want to protect. And those things should not be said in Malaysia because the culture is not ready for it. Maybe the job is to ready the culture slowly. And they cannot move at the speed you want them to move.
Yeah.
So I'm saying how they react is right. What you do is right. Now let things unfold.
But I'm not patient.
No, it's not that you're not patient. You don't want to feel bad and you want things to change just so that you don't feel bad. That is not good. Learn to feel bad, learn to mourn, learn to protest, and learn to give people time. Do you know, for a daughter to sit and interview the father, being born Indian, being born Asian, do you know how rare that is? My mother will say, how dare your daughter ask you question? Do you know from where my mother is to where you are? It is a leap she cannot believe. The other day I'm telling her, she's going to go overseas. Really? Why? I said, why not? She wants to go study, she wants to go explore something, let her do. She's like, then who will look after you? Her brain is still in the brain that she was oppressed. So can you see the progress? Now we go into this. What is justice? I think not to be limited to justice. Wow. Not to be limited to only this, to have a vision. So is justice, according to you, according to this discussion, to be able to have a vision and to be able to hold the vision in such a way, things can become more right, more dharmic.
I think the problem for me is that, like, yes, I'm in agreement with everything you say. I completely agree. But my frustration comes at the people that bring about the roadblocks, that get out of my way. If you're not interested, get out of my way.
No, that's your thumbprint. That is your personal that you must control. Because of the little personal quality, don't allow yourself to dismiss this entire body. Yes, you want it to be fast. You want, come on. Why are you afraid?
Like, yeah, come on, get that fire going and let's make this happen.
Yeah, but
people are not like that.
They don't have to. Let me defend them. They don't have to. They can do what the hell they want to do. We have tolerated 5,000 years of prostitution. I don't know why I'm talking about it. Which means some father has to give up his daughter for some nonsensical thing. And we have tolerated it too. Why? What else can you do? It is very nice to talk about, let's march and do this. I am saying have compassion. Consider the bigger.
I guess like even in hearing you say that they don't have to, I'm like, but they do though.
Yeah. No, don't let your vision die by the resistance of a few. So now your personal, right? Your personal, that is your vision, don't let it be destroyed by the bigger body, right? Let your vision consider the bigger body. But now what you're saying is, since they're so resistant, I'm going to give up my vision. That is wrong too. So I'm saying, there is the bigger. Every one of us have the same biological body, but I have an individual thumbprint. Let's live with it, one with it. My individual and my universal are in harmony. Right? My individual and my universal are in harmony.
I think that takes more patience than I have.
No, that's now you're talking about your individual. You're young. You want it overnight. I think to connect the two, you do need a lot of patience. You need a lot of like grounding. Maybe I'm just not there yet. Today I was just talking to Eric just now. I said one of the errors what Master did or Appa did was somewhere in 1999 or 2000, I was doing a lot of big talks, 1,000 people, 2,000 people. I was always in a huge crowd. Then I said, no, I don't want to do this. I want to do personal. Small group, few hundred people, sit down, run small classes where I get to meet people. After maybe 20 over years doing it, I can see the error of it. Because the moment the personal is there, people want to give up the universal.
Yeah.
So I'm saying my error is, oh my God, This personal is all people want, and they don't want the bigger picture. They don't want to bow to what has to be done. And I'm saying they can only get the personal if they bow to the universal. It's like this. Hang on. I can only talk about my thumbprint if I accept I have a body that is same like everybody else. My uniqueness is only valid when I'm right by the universal. So can I say absence of the universal truth, the personal is a lie? Choosing only the personal to deny the universal will not work.
I think my issue, right? Because I completely agree with everything you say. I think it's absolutely fine to feel like, okay, you want it just the personal, or you want it, or you want just you, or you want the universal. But what bothers me is when people say, I want the universal, but actually they just want the personal.
They're lying.
Yeah, and for me, it's clear.
Get used to it. That's what people do. They don't even know they're lying.
It's so clear to me, but I guess.
Yeah. It's like God. If God is universal, then God is universal. He's for you, for me, everybody.
Yeah.
But there's the personal. There's the personal God, the personal belief, right? But the personal belief, it's okay if you consider the universal.
Yeah. It's like you want God for yourself, but that's not how it works.
No, you want the God as how you want it to be, not how it is or something like that.
I think but with that, right, I definitely feel that more woke people are able to say, this is my relationship with God. Your relationship with him, her, they, them is yours to have however you want to do it. Because I'm settled in this. But I think without that settle and security, people are always like, they're lying.
And that's something you must accept about the people. They do lie. They don't even know they're lying. They don't even know they want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you think everybody who gets married knows the truth of marriage? You think everybody who gets married is interested in the other person? Or they're only interested in the personal? They even get married because it's personal. They don't get married because it's a universal truth. And when they make it personal, they deny the universal truth. And if you're not right by the universal, it's gone. It's like flying, you know. If you take aeronautical science and engineering, there is a universal truth to lift, to talk, to everything. There's a universal truth. But then when I'm right by the universal truth, I can make a 2-propeller plane, 1-propeller plane. I can fly a jet plane. Then I can personalize it. Then I can personalize the cockpit and all that. But these guys are only personalizing the cockpit, not listening to the aeronautical engineering and saying that's a plane. That's not a plane. That's a sinking boat.
I know, but that's when I'm like, stop it. But I guess I can't do that. That's their journey.
There we go. Like this, huh? We might be universal, but we bow to individual personal. But in bowing to the personal, I'm not dismissing the universal. I still am interested in that man from, I think, is he from Africa, the man who did something about my video and he went like that. I love him. You know why? You know what? That is not even personal. It's too universal. I said something, he agreed with something universal, and we are in kinship. It's not even personal. But the personal is, I took up on it. I kind of I like this guy, and I hope he likes me too if we meet. But even if we don't like each other, we agree. I might not agree with Einstein's many things, but I agree with his truth. Slowly, yeah? Objectivity doesn't mean I kill my personal. Personal doesn't mean I kill my objectivity. Somewhere, if I balance both, then there is justice. If not, there is none. Right now in the world, there is no justice. In the name of justice, everybody is furthering their personal motive, their personal objective. So can I say, my personal objective blinds me of the universal? That's when I go wrong. And when I go to the universal, I might rape the personal. That's why I go wrong. Somewhere I must find a balance. That's what meditation is. Meditation is not about silencing the mind or raising energy or turning your eyeballs to look at your third eye or all that nonsense. It is to live in such awareness that the personal and universal are not violated. Both are lived. Something more than that happened. And I think that's justice. And that is the true transcendental nature. If I take about meditation and transformation, it's nothing but personal prejudice. It's nothing but. If not, it is a human science. When I discovered what happened to me, whatever happened to me when it happened 30 years ago, I found it as a universal science. That's all I found. It's not even personal. It's like, I think love is a universal science. Anybody who can be right by that science, there will be love. But how I deal with it is personal. Like meditation is universal. How I meditate is personal. You get what I'm saying? So now, hang on. You are watching the universal truth. You are watching the collective truth. And then there is your personal. You are struggling to be right by that. And I think that is the question of personal justice. How do I do right by me? How do I do right by another? The A, the B, the C. And how do I sit in this? You got to wake up to be a leader. Know what's a leader? Who doesn't give up his personal, but doesn't use his personal to dismiss the universal. He represents all party. That's why I say begin with A, B, and C. I am, you are, we are, all is.
But sometimes the you are is so irritating.
You said sometime the you are.
It's so irritating. And I think that's
It
life.
must be as how somebody sees me smoking and say, oh my God, that's not good. I apologize. But this is what I want to do.
That's just how it is. That's just life.
No. I know it's wrong, but hey, I'm expecting you to be a bit kind to me, as how you expect me to be kind to you when I catch you a moron too. So we both decide to be kind to each other. We take that as a personal value, so we can meet beyond this personal conflict to something universal and do right by that and oneself. And I think that's justice.
Like I can still be just and right by you and not like you.
Perfectly. But why wouldn't you like me?
Not you lah.
No, by somebody else. Why would you like? Why would you even go there? Why you even mount that response? Why would you even mount that response?
What do you mean?
Like, why would you even mount that reaction for somebody? I don't like you. Why would you even
bother with that?
Bother with that. Like, I will never say I don't like somebody.
Maybe you are just ahead of it than me. I'm just more affected than you.
Maybe that's what you have to deal with. And the affected is the personal.
Yeah.
And that is good too. That means it tells you must grow. You must find higher wisdom. You must consider more. So the reaction is personal. Reaction is personal. The universal is universal. So the reaction is what you must manage. So what you must manage is the personal. So you can sit by the universal without losing the personal or the universal. I am a person and I'm also humanity. I don't have to give up my humanity for my personal, nor give up my personal for humanity.
All right.
I think I leave this with the audience. And this is me chatting with my daughter. This is her idea of doing this program. She doesn't want me to be a teacher, a guru or something. She always doesn't want my students to be around. So it's just a chit chat between a father and a daughter. And I think it's very beautiful because this side of me, very few people get to see. Thank you.
Thank you.